If you're sick of your anxiety and feel like you've tried everything to stop it but are still struggling, this video is for you. This video is the missing piece that you've been looking for. It's the final step to not only calming your anxiety, but rebalancing your nervous system and expanding your window of stress tolerance so that you can live a life and deal with things without worrying about having an anxiety attack or feeling like the world's gonna end. I've been where you are. For years, I struggled with anxiety and burnout too. I tried therapy and I really liked it. It helped me process some things, but it didn't help me really regulate my nervous system, and it didn't do anything to get rid of my panic attacks. And I tried some medications, but they left me feeling like I wanted to panic but couldn't. And I wanted a better way. I wanted a way that actually dealt with the root of the problem so I could handle things in my life calmly and clearly. So that's where these 6 steps come in. Some of them you've probably heard of or tried, and some of them maybe not. But the key is to not only do them, but to do them in the correct order. Most people with anxiety, myself included, get really preoccupied with those anxious thoughts because they are so overwhelming. So you naturally try to address anxiety through the mind. But the truth is, most of our nervous systems live all throughout our bodies. And when your body is anxious, it's really hard to calm your mind. So these steps walk you through first, calming anxiety in different ways through the body by reducing inflammation and increasing natural serotonin. And then once your body is calm, it's so much easier to then calm your mind. You're able to actually meditate or journal and have effective therapy sessions once you're approaching them from a body that's more regulated. These steps don't just address the mental or just the physical aspect of anxiety. They address both, and in the correct order, because anxiety is a holistic problem and it needs a holistic solution. If you've ever felt anxious and then tried to meditate to help calm yourself down, you know that that can feel almost impossible. But if you do something physical and move your body first and then try to meditate, you'll see that it feels a lot easier afterwards. And that is the power of what we're about to dive into. We're going to start by calming your body, and then it will be so much easier to calm your mind. So grab a pen and get ready to change the way you deal with anxiety once and for all. So the very first step to making these changes is knowing where you're starting from and where you want to go. I always like to start with vision setting. It gives you a really clear idea of what you're working toward and also helps so much with motivation when the changes start to feel hard. And listen, you're gonna want to skip this step or half-ass it, but I am asking you to give it a try because it will really help you in the long run. Tracking your baseline, building awareness around your current habits and triggers, and preparing your environment to support you, these are the foundations that set you up for success when you're making lifestyle changes. And here's why vision setting is actually scientifically powerful. There was a study done on piano players, and researchers brought these piano players in. They asked them to play the piano, and they scanned their brains while they did it. And they noticed that certain areas of their brain lit up. And then they went home, they asked them to come back again the next day, and just imagine playing the piano this time. They weren't actually doing it, just thinking about it. And the crazy part, the same brain areas lit up. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between something real and something vividly imagined. So when you create a clear, emotionally charged vision of the life that you want, your brain actually starts to rehearse that new reality. You're not just imagining, you're training your brain to change. You're also going to need something to keep you going through these tough times because, let's be real, change is hard. And when you're already dealing with anxiety or burnout, even small changes can feel impossible. This is where I'm going to ask you to dig deep and find your why, but hear me out first. You might be thinking, okay, I feel like shit, I don't want to live like this, that's my why. And honestly, I get that. But if you've been stuck in anxiety for years, making changes, especially on your own, will be uncomfortable. And when your nervous system is already out of whack, the last thing you want to do is add discomfort. That's why you need a strong reason to keep going. Something that reminds you that it's this discomfort that's going to now lead you into a place of peace and clarity and freedom later. So we need to get to the root of it. So I need you to ask yourself, why do I want to make this change? Then you got to ask why again and again until you land on something that really, really hits you emotionally. I'm going to give you a personal example so you can see what I mean. So when I first sat down to do this and I asked myself why I wanted to commit to these habit changes, I got the answer because I want to live without anxiety. Okay, so why did I want to do that though? And the answer was because I was tired all the time and life wasn't fun anymore. And why did I want to change that? The answer was because this can't be all there is. I only get one life and I want to feel joyful and exciting while living it. And that was the one for me. That was the one I felt in my chest. It made me feel some emotion and it really motivated me, and it reminded me when I was going through the hard times what I was working towards. So once you found your why, your real why, you can build a vision around it. What does your life look like when you're living with joy and purpose? And what are you doing? How do you feel in your body, in your mind? Are you excited? Are you hopeful? Write that vision down and get really specific with it. And then keep it somewhere visible and look at it every time things start to get hard. This is the step that most people skip, and this also might be the most important one on your journey to change. I promise that it's worth the effort. You need to start here with figuring out your real why, setting a vision for what you want, and then tracking a baseline to see where you are. Then you'll have the initial framework for where you want to go, and then you can start filling it in with the next few steps which tell you how to get there. So for tracking a baseline of where you are right now, I want you to spend maybe just 2 or 3 days just jotting down some notes about things like your anxiety and what triggered it, how you're feeling throughout the day, and why. This is going to help build a starting point to work from. If you'd like more guidance and an exercise to walk you through mapping your stressors and how to change them, just download my free guide. It has an entire section on stress mapping and walks you through a step-by-step on how to recognize and overcome your triggers. So the reason you need this is because another motivating factor is when you start to notice little improvements as the weeks go by. Noticing the little things like feeling a little more energy or motivation or stepping out of your comfort zone, even in the smallest ways, are wins, and it's important to celebrate them as you go. So once you've nailed down your starting point and vision for the future, you're ready to start making changes. And the first thing we're going to focus on is your supplement routine. We start with supplements because it's easy. It's an easy habit to start with, and they can make a big difference in your mood. Plus, it gives you a really great way to troubleshoot and figure out what works for you and what doesn't right from the start. So there are 3 categories of supplements that I recommend. There are vitamins and minerals, amino acids, and herbal remedies. Everyone is unique and your needs may vary, but there are certain supplements that tend to be especially helpful for most people when dealing with anxiety, and here are a few to consider. Number 1 is magnesium. Magnesium is a mineral and it helps to calm the nervous system and regulate stress hormones. Most people who are highly stressed are low in magnesium, so replenishing it can help reduce anxiety and support better sleep. And be sure to get magnesium glycinate as it's easier on your digestive tract. The next supplement I want to recommend is vitamin C. Vitamin C is a potent anti-inflammatory agent. It helps to reduce inflammation in the body. Stress burns through vitamin C stores, so it's really important to replenish in times of high stress and if you're trying to recover from a time of burnout or high anxiety. Many people with anxiety are also low in key vitamins like B complex, especially B6 and B12, and vitamin D, and both of these support mood regulation and energy levels. The next supplement I want to recommend is called L-theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid and it's found in green tea, and it helps you feel calm without making you feel sleepy. So it's really great if you've got that wired but tired feeling or if you struggle with racing thoughts. And then moving along, my favorite herbal remedy for anxiety and stress is called ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an ancient herb and it helps your body adapt to stress. It's one of the most studied natural remedies for anxiety, and it can help you feel more balanced and less reactive over time. It's one of the best researched adaptogens for anxiety and stress, and it helps to actually balance your cortisol and supports adrenal function when taken over time. Quick caution here, it's not ideal for people who have hyperthyroidism or autoimmune conditions, so please check with your doctor before taking if you have these conditions. And remember, while these supplements can help to boost your mood and your energy, there truly is no such thing as a magic pill. For long-term, lasting anxiety relief, this is only the starting point. They are something motivating to start you off so you can make the lifestyle changes that will then get rid of your anxiety for good. It's true that you really can't get healthy living in the same way that made you sick. So while supplements are great, they are, as their name suggests, supplemental to a healthy lifestyle. Okay, so that wraps up supplements. So moving on, our third step for calming anxiety, let's talk about my favorite subject, food. Most people don't realize that what they eat affects how they feel mentally. Like, I know we all know sugar and processed foods aren't great for us, vegetables and fruits are good for us, but no one really tells you that what you're eating might actually make your anxiety worse or keep you stuck in it. And this is where the principles of nutritional psychiatry come in. So nutritional psychiatry, it's a growing field of science that looks at how food impacts your brain and your mental health. Your brain is highly sensitive to what you feed it, and the nutrients or lack of nutrients that you're getting every day can have a direct effect on your mood, your energy, your stress response, and even how clearly you think. And your gut and your brain are literally connected by a nerve highway. So what's going on in your gut sends messages straight to your brain. And if your gut's inflamed or out of balance, your brain will feel it. And that can show up as anxious thoughts, low mood, brain fog, and that heavy, stuck feeling. And just to be clear, this isn't about cutting carbs or trying to eat clean so you can lose weight. This is not weight loss culture repackaged. There are very specific nutrient factors in eating styles that can help stabilize your nervous system, support your neurotransmitter production, and reduce inflammation. And all of these things are huge for managing anxiety. Food is one of the most powerful tools you have to shift how you feel. And you have to eat every day anyway, so why not make it a part of something that helps you instead of something that holds you back? So here are the main principles you need to know to manage anxiety using nutrition. First, you're going to add in things that help, and then you're going to reduce the things that don't help. It's never all or nothing. It's just a better balance to help you feel less anxious. Okay, so here are things to eat more of. Number one is protein. Protein's not just for building muscle, and more specifically, foods that are higher in the amino acid tryptophan. Tryptophan is what your body uses to make the neurotransmitter serotonin, which is our happiness hormone, and people who have anxiety are usually chronically low in serotonin. So foods like turkey, chicken, tofu, pumpkin seeds, salmon are all really great sources of tryptophan. Boosting natural serotonin is one of the most effective ways to reduce anxiety, and nutrition is a super important factor. But if you would like a step-by-step guide on how to use nutrition in other ways to boost serotonin naturally, download my free guide. It'll walk you through that. Okay, so the next food on our list to eat more of are complex carbs. So things like sweet potatoes, quinoa, brown rice, they give you that really nice carby, comforting feeling without spiking your blood sugar levels too high. Spiking and crashing blood sugar levels are really stressful on the body. They create inflammation and they can also mimic the feelings of anxiety. So keeping this stable is really key. Also, pairing those carbs with the aforementioned protein sources will help the tryptophan cross the blood-brain barrier and increase that calming effect. The next thing I want to mention to eat more of are omega-3 fatty acids. These are super important for calming your nervous system. So think things like salmon, walnuts, chia seeds. These actually help to reduce inflammation, which messes with your mood. The next thing I want to address to eat more of are prebiotics and probiotics. Probiotics are the good bacteria in your gut, and the prebiotics are the fuel that you need to feed them. Your microbiome in your gut helps produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, which is the neurotransmitter that keeps you calm. And gut health is foundational in this aspect for your mental health. Your gut literally helps make the feel-good chemicals in your brain. So eating some fiber, fermented foods, and cutting back on ultra-processed stuff really helps with your gut health. The next point I want to quickly touch on is hydration. I don't want to be another girl on the internet telling you to drink more water. I know you need to drink more water, but I want to tell you why it matters for your anxiety. Even mild dehydration can increase cortisol and cause fatigue, dizziness, and brain fog, all of which make anxiety feel worse. So if you're feeling off, tired, or tense, check your water intake. Even low-grade dehydration can spike stress hormones and make anxiety feel heavier. Okay, so the next two are things that you should try and consume less of, and they are caffeine and sugar. Don't turn this video off. I'm not done yet. Hear me out. Caffeine and sugar are both stimulants, and when consumed together, especially, they can trigger that wired but tired and jittery heart racing feeling, like classic anxiety fuel. Caffeine and sugar aren't evil, but they can mess with your nervous system if you're already feeling anxious. So if you're shaky or edgy, followed by like a big energy crash, caffeine and sugar could be part of it. And like I said, you don't have to give these things up, but some people are more sensitive to them than others. So if you find you're a person who's sensitive to simple sugars and simple carbohydrates, try to only have protein and fat for the first meal or even the first 2 meals of your day, and then leave the carbs till later in the evening. This can make their effects a bit less. And also make sure to have simple sugars and caffeine with or just after a meal that has a lot of fiber, protein, and fat in it to help slow their absorption. One other thing, I don't know if this is a science-proof fact, but I do know that a lot of people with anxiety, they will look for a mold-free coffee. Apparently, most coffees do have mold in them, which some people report will make their anxiety worse. So you can try looking for a mold-free coffee if you find you're sensitive to caffeine and you don't want to give your coffee up. If you try these tips but are still feeling the negative effects of sugar and caffeine, I do encourage you to listen to your body and try cutting them out just for a little while. This doesn't mean you can't ever have them again, but sometimes just giving your nervous system a break from them might be what you need. And that is everything you need to know about using nutrition to reduce your anxiety. So moving on to number 4, we're going to talk about movement and breath work. When it comes to movement, I need to say this up front. Don't try to burn calories and regulate your nervous system at the same time. Those two goals can actually work against each other. High intensity workouts have their place, but if your nervous system's already fried, pushing through a workout that dramatically elevates your breathing and heart rate can leave you feeling more anxious and can even cause an anxiety attack. The goal here isn't to burn fat, it's to move energy through your body so you can feel calm, grounded, and clear-headed. And some days you might want more intensity, something like strength training or going on a hike, and that can be great. Other days you might crave gentle movement like yoga, stretching, somatic movement, or even just lying on your mat doing some breath work. And to talk about breath work is one of the quickest ways to quickly shift out of anxiety and into a parasympathetic or a rest and digest state. A few slow, deep belly breaths can change your whole day, and that is not an exaggeration. This is another thing that people tend to underestimate because it's free, it's accessible, it's easy to do. So most people tend to ignore it or think it can't be that effective, but it is really one of the best tools you have to calm your body when it's panicking and stay calm throughout the day. If you'd like a step-by-step breathwork exercise, download my free guide in the description box below. It's a PDF, you can just save it on your desktop and refer back to it anytime you need a breathwork coach. You can pair breathwork with movement or do it on its own, but either way, it counts. The real key here is to listen to your body and do one thing every day. It doesn't need to be long or perfect, it just needs to be consistent. So maybe that's 10 minutes of yoga, a mindful walk, or 3 minutes of breath work in between your meetings at work. Don't overthink it, don't overdo it, just move or breathe with the intention of supporting your nervous system, not overwhelming it. The 5th step on our journey to better mental health is rest. So let's talk about rest. Not just sleep, but actual rest. And not the kind where you're scrolling your phone for 2 hours convincing yourself that you're winding down. If you're stuck in anxiety, your nervous system is already running on fumes. That wired but exhausted feeling, that is your body begging for restoration. But a lot of us have forgotten what true rest really looks like. Rest isn't zoning out or numbing out, and it's not necessarily Netflix binges or endless TikTok scrolling or reaching for a glass of wine to calm down at the end of the day. We've all been there, no shame. That's not rest, though. That's dissociation. It's distraction dressed up as self-care. Real rest is intentional. It helps your body actually recover physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's what allows your nervous system to downshift and reset instead of staying in fight or flight. This might mean things like lying on the floor and doing some breath work, journaling your thoughts out of your head, listening to some music and closing your eyes, gentle stretching, or even actual sleep, deep, uninterrupted, quality sleep. There are lots of different ways to do these things, but the hard part here, and I think the part that people struggle with the most, is that you have to give yourself permission to rest without guilt. You don't need to earn rest by being productive first. You don't need to push to the point of burnout just to justify an evening off. Rest is a biological need, not a luxury. And if you're trying to heal anxiety, rest is not optional. So instead of collapsing into distraction at the end of the day, create a real wind down routine and start small. So maybe that just looks like turning your screens off 30 minutes earlier than you normally would, or doing 5 minutes of breath work in bed, or reading a few pages of a light novel. Don't underestimate these tiny shifts because over time they signal safety to your body, and that is where the real healing begins to happen. So, up until now, we've talked about the physical stuff, supplements, food, movement, sleep, and that is on purpose. Because when your nervous system is fried and your body feels like it's constantly under threat, it's really hard to just think differently. This is why I say start with the body and then move to the mind. Once your body starts to feel safer, calmer, and more nourished, then the mindset work becomes possible. Not always easy, but definitely easier. So let's talk about that. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. And if that lens is full of fear, pressure, and not enoughness, everything you experience gets filtered through that. And that lens, it's usually built on beliefs you didn't consciously choose. So beliefs like, I'm just anxious, it's who I am. I'm just a sensitive person. If I can't do it perfectly, I shouldn't bother. Or I always end up disappointing people. These aren't facts, they're beliefs. And beliefs can be challenged and changed. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to start to try and notice that voice in your head, the automatic thoughts, the ones that run in your subconscious background of the mind. I want you to pay attention to the stories you're telling yourself. And instead of accepting them as truth, I want you to pause and ask, is this actually true? Are these thoughts or beliefs actually true, or are they just stories I've told myself? Like maybe instead of I'm just anxious, it's who I am, it's I'm learning how to feel safe. And instead of I can't do it perfectly, I'm doing my best and that's enough. Or I always end up disappointing people. I don't need to be perfect to be loved or successful. Once you start to question and challenge these thoughts, you can then start to reframe them. And this is how you build a new identity, one that's based on compassion and truth instead of fear. If these new thoughts that you're saying to yourself feel untrue, or if you feel like you can't really trust them, you're likely struggling with unhooking from perfectionism and an all or nothing mindset. You know, the one where it says, if you can't do the whole routine perfectly, you might as well do nothing. Or if you mess up once, you say screw it and you quit. That mindset keeps you stuck in anxiety. What we want instead is something called a growth mindset. Progress counts and effort matters. And I know I'm going to lose some of you here, but I have to say it. Meditation matters. Most people write it off because their brain is too busy, but that is the point, is that your brain is too busy. Meditation gives you the chance to practice quieting that anxious voice so you can start to hear your real self underneath all that noise. So do me a favor, please try this for me. I want you to get a little bit of movement in your body, and then I want you to sit quietly for a few minutes and close your eyes and just sit and wait for your next thought. When it comes, I want you to imagine that it's like a cloud in the sky just rolling on by in the wind. Watch it come and then watch it go. This is a really great practice to start to separate yourself from your thoughts so you can look at them more objectively instead of feeling like they are you. When you are objectively observing your thoughts instead of just believing them, you can question and challenge the ones that aren't helpful to you. That's where the work is, and that's where the real change comes from. You don't have to sit cross-legged in silence for an hour. You just need to commit to coming back to yourself for a few minutes a day, because you are not broken. You've just been living in survival mode. And this work, this mindset work, is how you start living in self-trust instead. Okay, friend, that's it for today's video. I hope that this gave you some clarity on why having a vision and a strong why is so essential for when you're starting to make changes, especially when you're dealing with anxiety or burnout. And just remember, you don't have to figure it out all at once. It's okay to start small, and it's okay if it feels uncomfortable at first. It's part of the process. And if you are ready to take the next step, make sure to download my free guide, 3 little known strategies to relieve anxiety naturally. It's got a few simple but very powerful tools like boosting serotonin naturally, breath work, and one of my favorite practices, stress mapping. It's totally free, and it's a perfect next step to start feeling better today. And if you are wondering just how much anxiety and stress might be affecting your body, make sure to check out this next video, 5 signs your anxiety and stress are making you sick. It really is an eye-opener, especially for women. And honestly, it's one I wish I had seen years ago. So thank you. Thank you for being here. You are doing a great job. Even just showing up and staying to the end of this video shows your courage and your commitment to improving your mental health. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.